In today's episode, Greg is joined by Noah Matsakawo, a fourth-year resident soph at Bayton, science counselor, and president of Pangea. Join us as Noah dives into his unique journey of balancing academics, leadership responsibilities, and personal passion while championing inclusivity and fostering a vibrant community at Western. Hi, Noah. How are you?
I am great, Craig. How are you doing? I'm so happy to join you today.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I've actually been doing, a lot of soft training stuff. So I just got out of a soft meeting. So I'm really excited to, be so stoked for the entire orientation planning. So Noah, this actually kind of leads me into one of the first questions I have for you. What advice would you give about giving to a student who is looking to get more involved in campus life at Western?
So to get more involved in campus life, I think initially off the bat, it's gonna seem hard to get involved. Like you don't know who exactly to talk to and don't know where to start and don't know where to look for. But I think the first step is just talking to people who you see having these roles. So like for example, one of the best resources I think is softs because involved in so many different things, and they can be that first point of contact into those different things that you might be interested in. Especially me myself, I was on the med side for in my first year. That really helped having my resident staff also be in my faculty. So I think also what's important is connecting with your faculty staff because some of the stuff that the faculty councils are doing is really huge and really able to get your foot in the door and really start your leadership journey at Western and get involved and meet people.
How has your involvement in these Western clubs and activities shaped your university experience?
Okay, so I'd say how my experience has shaped how my journey has been shaped by my West. Oh my days. Okay, reset. I'd say how my Western journey has been shaped by my experiences as just a social aspect of it. Whether it's Pangea, which I was lucky enough to be the co-founder and co-president of, which it has a mission to of inclusivity and having people from different backgrounds just meeting each other and inspiring each other. I think that has really allowed me to meet so many different people, diverse people, get so many different perspectives that really have helped me grow as a student and grow as a person. Also, being on Science and Council, I've been able to see some of the advocacy work and some of the programming they run, and that helps science students get to know each other better, get to focus on wellness, get professional development, which has been huge. So I really think that my like stepping out and joining these organizations has helped me uh, learn more about options at Western and learn more about options after, like especially when it comes to like professional development and some of the lessons I learned building Pangea, building a club, like managing teams at LST and in the club too. I think those messages I'll be able to take elsewhere and after university. So I'm definitely grateful that I've had these experiences at Western.
Yeah, I definitely think a stepping stone is like pushing yourself out of that comfort zone, really encouraging you to join those clubs to have that social aspect. And I'm also a science counselor, so I definitely do understand what you're talking about. It definitely was a really cool, and currently is a really cool experience. And I'll talk more about that later. But in relation to Pangea, I was wondering, like, is there like a standout memory or event from your time on Pangea that you feel really truly captures that mission and impact?
I think the standout event for Pangea is our Pangea showcase. So last year we were able to run our first annual one at Mustang Lounge, which is a huge accomplishment for us. Because going into starting a club, we start with $100, and then through our events we had to raise money, and through grants through the USC and Social Science and Council, we were able to have enough money to run this event. And basically, what we did is we invited different social clubs, dance groups, modeling groups around the Western community all to come out to Mustang Lounge and perform, and oftentimes re-perform acts that they done at their previous showcases and fashion shows, just to reduce the burden on their side. Even though like it is a huge burden, we're so grateful that they came to the Pangea showcase. So we just had groups come and perform, and it really seeing like back to back to back different cultures, different clothing, different dance styles. That's really a beautiful thing, and it really feel like it captures that experience of what Pangea aims to do by inspiring the Western experience of students. And I think that's like the standout event for Pangea. And this year we have a whole department running it. I'm so excited that we have Jake Choi as our VP, and he's gonna kill it. He's been working diligently since October, so definitely look out for that. We already have a date, Mar- Tuesday, March 18th. I hope to see some of you guys out there too.
Yeah, I'm definitely really stoked, to hear so much about what Pangea has become. I remember when I was first seeing it, and I feel like Pangea actually got so like it got so big so fast, and it really like is truly amazing to me how like you said you guys started off with what like $100 and you guys made it into what it was today. So I guess since I know like Pangea's purpose is like creating like a multicultural social club like beyond borders. So, kudos on the names. I think the name is really good. Um, but if you were to create like a new initiative or co-op Western, like what would it be and why? I really want to get like a sense of what your thought process is like.
Oh, so you're saying a new club at Western?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like anything that it could be. Like assuming like infinite funds or like it doesn't have to be like super feasible. It's just like something that like interests you.
Something? I wouldn't just be a Western thing, but something I just finished a group project on with a couple friends, Madster, Victoria, and Shweta. We worked on a project. We called it Western Wheels, and basically what it was is a bike share program, and it ran in kind of where students live, and it was just a program similar to what they have in Toronto and in Hamilton, where like you just rent a bike, you can drive it like your final mile, and then put it back, and somebody else can borrow it. So that was a really cool project to work on, and I really think that as someone who loves to bike himself, I'd love to see that at Western. So if we had unlimited funds, I think I'd love to see that. And working on that project, I worked on some of the logistics of it. I looked into how much Hamilton had to invest initially. It was $1.6 million. So if we can find maybe municipally or anyone who's willing to invest $1.6 million, I think it greatly enhance our experience. But so
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, I definitely do see that. I also do know personally how much you do love your bike. There's been so many times where it's after a soft meeting or something, and I'm just asking you if you could drive me home, and you tell me you biked. Not gonna lie, at those times it is crushing. But it's all about health, right? I think that I used to have a bike too, and I used to bike every day to high school, and that was a really good way for me to just stay active. So I think that is something that is, it would be a really cool change if, we had like an unlimited budget. And this kind of relates to like you outside of school, right? Like what are like do you play any sports or any I guess like hobbies outside of school?
Yeah, so before university and then going into university, I loved soccer. I still do love soccer. But then after my first year, I had a sprained meniscus. So right now I've been a bit on ice. I haven't been playing too much. Um, I was considering getting surgery. Currently waiting for a time to actually get it done because I it's just hard to find a time that as a student I could just take off completely and recover after that. And that could work with a doctor's schedule because like sometimes they kind of take their breaks in December and go on vacation, which makes sense because they work like a dog all year. And yeah, so
Oh,
soccer is one of my favorite hobbies. Also listening to music, I love like Afro beats. Like I like a good night out, like a nice like lost love night and stuff like that. So definitely, when I'm not working on academics, I'll be enjoying myself, meeting people, going out, listening to music.
I can definitely see that, Pangea, is a really big social club. I'm really sorry to hear about what happened to your meniscus. And I guess since you're mentioning that, like, do you think that this experience has really shaped like how you've been like, I guess like taking towards like an interest in healthcare, where like this physical recovery may have impacted your decision to do med sci? Because I know that you're also like a med sci student.
Yeah, so previously I was actually already in MedSci before it actually happened because it was after my first year. But it was definitely like cool because like when I was going to see the doctor initially and then the specialist and then another specialist, I'd always ask what the journey was. So I met one like person who was like training to be a doctor, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I went to Western for kinesiology, and I went to University of Michigan to get my MD, and then back to and then he ended up back in Hamilton. So it's kind of cool. Like, and it's an opportunity to learn because these are people in the field that I want to get into. So I really took that up as an opportunity. And he was telling me that like, the way that Canadian med schools are competitive, like sometimes it's beneficial to go to the States. And then he was able to come back here and integrate right back into the workforce. So I definitely it is pretty cool like learning experience because we're seeing I'm seeing people in the field, and so I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think a lot about, I guess, like learning and choosing career and even making decisions is about the people that are around you, the people that have influenced you. And in regards to like this med sci background and also your involvement in Western, let's now pivot towards a conversation that's more based on like your advocacy and your student governance roles. I actually am on student council with you. So I was wondering like, is there like a specific moment or person who has like inspired you to run for like the science counselor position? And what really like made you decide to become a science counselor at the beginning of your campaign back, I guess, last year?
So yeah, so the reason I'd say I want to join Science Student Council is because on my soft team last year, a guy named Dom was a science USC counselor, and when he described the role to me, it was kind of interesting to me because it's a way that a student can directly impact the duties and the actions of the USC, which is a body that naturally ran that I saw as a body that ran my club system and ran my soft system during O week and ran my concerts. So I was like, oh, this is the institution that has general power to have good to increase my students' experience at Western. So that's something I definitely want to join, and then learning more about the organization after that and the wellness activities and the programming that goes into it, the student services like food support, ethnocultural support, which we got to do a collab with today at our for with Pangea, and all those different support and peer support center that the USC offers. Learning about all that made me want to step forward and ultimately become a USC counselor, so I can have a voice on these issues and represent my community as a science counselor and also my the voices that come around me.
Yeah, I definitely do see like a lot about being a counselor is about advocating for the voices of others. And that kind of leads me to another question, which is how do you stay connected with students to make sure that their voices are heard and represented effectively?
All right, so how I stay connected with students. One great thing I like that the Science Student Council does is that as voting members of the Science Student Council, we have the ability to go to Taylor Library and just sit there, and it's advertised that we will be there so that students can come and talk to us. So I think that's a great opportunity. And it's advertised as office hours that we can ask us questions. But if somebody asks me a question, always love to hear it back and ask, what do you want to see out of your university student council? Because ultimately, it's the voices that are around us that ultimately need to guide our advocacy. And as a USC counselor, like we need to be listening to issues that arise, and so that we can react in a manner that is beneficial for scientists specifically and students at large.
In your opinion, what is the biggest misconception students have about the role of a counselor and how would you clarify it? So if you
Okay,
would like to talk about like, I guess, like what you do as a counselor, that would also, I guess, it'll answer it better too.
okay. And so as a USC counselor, our roles aren't directly necessarily hands on in the SSC. Like we're not playing programming, but what we are doing is listening to the voices in the science student council. We're listening to the discussions that we're having. We're updating our fellow science council members of what the what issues are coming up in the USC council, and we're giving them the opportunity to voice their concerns back to us so that we make sure that we're providing info to the USC that the science students agree with. Because ultimately, in the science council, we have DEP reps and our executives and all the other bodies within science student council, and we can use those members, those student leaders, as a way to kind of get the information that the students feel towards us, and ultimately bring that to the USC council floor when we're voting on decisions.
Yeah, that is a really great way of summing up, the roles of a counselor. And, if you want to speak to know about this, your office hours are I don't actually know. So
Yeah,
I think it's Friday.
2:30 tomorrow actually. Tomorrow's Friday for us, so 2:30 on Fridays for this semester.
Yeah, so everyone should check that out. You know, if you have any questions, Counselor Noah will answer it for you. So what advice would you give to someone who is planning to run for a counselor position?
So yeah, so the advice I'd give to someone who's planning on running for a USC counselor position is really just understanding what you can do in your power as a USC counselor. So whether that's being by talking and consulting with a current counselor just to learn more about the role, and then using that information to kind of drive your platform and write down like 2 to 3 actionable things that you can do as a UC counselor, so that you can get those things done over your year as a UC counselor. Because the year goes by really quick, so if you're not jumping in and recognizing what you want to do from the jump, it might be a little difficult. So this year as a UC counselor, I I set out with the intention of having microwaves in the UCC. This starting in August, I've been asking questions to the VP University Affairs. Right now, we're in the stage where it's hospitality services versus USC who pays, and so it's a long process to have changes, but it's definitely something that's rewarding once you can get it done. I'm hoping to seal out this microwaves in the UCC business as soon as possible, but it's always a journey to get changed.
Yeah, of course. Change takes a long time, but
Mm.
it's definitely very worth it. So I guess this kind of leads to another question where I was wondering if there's has been like any unexpected challenges that you faced as a counselor, like maybe ones that you weren't initially thinking about when you ran for this position.
All right, unexpected challenges of a USC counselor. I think an unexpected challenge, there's so many stakeholders that are involved and what we do as a student body, like so many different areas that are owned by different stakeholders, and it's challenging to wrap your head around it and then go forward to make change. So that's definitely a challenge I didn't necessarily expect.
Mhm. And that since that is like a lot of work, I'm just wondering like how do you do all of it? How do you juggle the responsibilities of being a counselor alongside academics and alongside Pangea and while being a resident staff LST the entire time? Like do you schedule or like how do you manage your time? Because I'm trying
Yeah,
to
so
learn.
my number one trick right now is I'm using a Outlook calendar. So I block off all my times for studying. I block off times for my classes and for my meetings. I feel like that's just very important just to start off with. Definitely blocking out time for studying specifically, because like sometimes that really helps me if I right after class go and review material and just kind of synthesize some of it in my head. So that's definitely one trick I'd use. And also creating a to-do list of stuff that I want to get done, and then also putting dates of when I want to get it done. Because it's so easy to like have something that you want to do that maybe takes a little bit more time, and then so you don't do it immediately and then forget about it, which kind of sucks afterwards when you realizing that you did.
Yeah,
How about
I
you?
think an agenda definitely has been really helpful for me. Sweet and simple is in my opinion, the best way to go about anything. If it's easy, you should do it because the easy stuff is what gets you going to be more motivated to do the harder thing.
Mm,
So I need everything like an agenda to be laid out as simply as possible for me to start doing the tough things, which are unfortunately stuff like homework, like exams, like tests.
yeah. So luckily, do like all my extracurriculars, I actually love doing them. So I can spend like limitless amount of time doing them. So it's more taking the time to put it back into academics, back into doing those 50 Anki cards uh, a day to that'll help me towards the end of the semester.
Mhm. Yeah, I get that. Like I think like a lot of ECs I do this year, whether it be like autism awareness or humans of Western and stuff that's more like formal, like council and also Sophing, they all have been really rewarding. I think that Sophing in particular was something that I picked up that was new this year, for me at least, and it has made me a very extroverted person compared to where I was before. How
Mhm.
about you, Noah? What are your opinions about Sophing, especially as an LST?
Yeah, so this is my third year as a resident soph. So my
Wow.
first 2 years I was at Alumgin as a regular soph, and then this year I got to be an LSC. So I definitely think it's a huge developing opportunity for any student who wants to be interested in it. And some and also I think it also is a type of thing that just grounds you because when like as a soph, you throughout the year, you're expected to be able to talk to your first years about some of the challenges that are going on. Like if it's midterm season, how do you cope with the stresses of midterms and finding out those resources? So I think in my meetings, learning about the resources that are available in the community has been very beneficial and something that I wouldn't have if I wasn't this off and having those conversations with my LSC in the past and then now having being able to have those conversations with the softs on my team in my first years.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of your roles are about like giving back to that community, whether it be through advocacy, representing students, or supporting students. And I think that is something that you're really passionate about. So Noah, is there anything more that you want to talk about as this episode is coming to a close? This is like a chance to give any closing thoughts.
So my closing thoughts is that I'd say this campus is so huge and there's so many things to do. So the first step in doing anything is just to get out there and try something new. Every year I've tried something new. Like my second year, I became a soph. My third year, I became Pangea president. And then fourth year became USC counselor. So every year there's always new opportunities. So definitely get out there, put your foot in the water, and try something new and have a great. And you'll have a great time. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, you guys heard Noah? Try something new, dip your foot in that water. If you guys are hesitant, just go for it. And thank you so much for your time, Noah. Hope you have
Thank
a great day.
you. Bye.
Bye.